Hi, and welcome to this video on standard form of linear equations. In this video, we're going to talk about the third form of a linear equation, which we call standard form, and that form is ax plus by is equal to c. Well, in the past, we've talked about slope-intercept form, where we have y equals mx plus b, and in this case, we can easily identify, one, the slope being m, and the y-intercept being b. So we can easily identify something in each of these. In point slope form, we can easily identify, we talked about the point x1, y1, which is a point that can be used on a graph, and we can also identify the slope m in this case. In the standard form, you can't really identify anything. However, it is a form that is necessary in order to understand or to be able to recognize a linear equation. The standard form is ax plus by is equal to c, and that a and that capital B and that c, that's just to kind of differentiate it so that you guys will know that it's not the same thing as the quadratic equation, that it is linear. But sometimes you will see it as lowercase a, lowercase b, or you may see it as another variable. So let's get started in talking about this. Well, know that any of these forms, other than our special cases, which include the vertical and horizontal lines, can be written in any of these forms. So for any linear equation, it can be written in slope-intercept form, point slope form, or standard form, and we can convert back and forth between these two. So what we're going to do in this video, let's look at how to go from slope-intercept form to standard form. So in this case, I have an equation given to me in y equals mx plus b form, so that is slope-intercept form. So I have the equation y equals 2x minus 4. Well, in standard form, notice that both x and y are on the same side. They're both on the left side, and the constant, the number that's by itself, which represents our y-intercept in the case here, in the slope-intercept form, is actually c, but c is not the y-intercept. And you'll see why as we convert the equation. You cannot see the slope or the y-intercept in the standard form. But it is necessary that you recognize it because sometimes equations will be given to you in standard form. So let's convert this one. Well, the first thing that we need to do is actually get the 2x to the other side. Well, how do we do that for an equation? Well, we know that to get one term from one side to another, we have to do the opposite or undo it. So in this case, I'm going to subtract 2x. So minus 2x, and over here I'm also going to subtract 2x. So what I end up with is negative 2x plus y is equal to negative 4. And notice that, oh, what happened to my y? Excuse me. There we go. Okay, and notice that the 2x and the 2x will cancel out, and that my 4 is negative and my negative 2x is negative. Well, officially for standard form, a, the coefficient a, which will be this negative 2 here, that will be my a, it's supposed to be positive. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to multiply this by I'm going to have to actually multiply this by a positive 1, by a negative 1 in order to make it positive. But remember that if I multiply one thing by a negative 1, I have to do that to my entire equation. So what I'm going to do is multiply this entire equation by negative 1, and all that's going to do is flip every side, but it's going to make sure that a, the capital A coefficient, 2, negative 2 will become 2. So that'll be 2x, and then now it's going to be minus y is equal to positive 4. And so this is the equation that we just looked at in standard form. Okay, let's look at another equation. We have y, and I'm going to write it again down here because I'm kind of running out of room, is negative 3x plus 1. Well, remember that both x and y should be on the same side. So in order to get this negative 3x over here, I'm going to have to add it to both sides. So plus 3x, and I'm going to have to come over here and go plus 3x. So when I simplify this out over here, I have y plus 3x is equal to 1. And of course, the ax term is supposed to go first. So all I have to do is switch these around. But when I do that, I just keep whatever sign. So this is a positive y and this is a positive 3x. So that's no problem. So 3x plus y is equal to 1. And in this case, the capital A, the coefficient A, is already positive. So there's no multiplying by a negative or anything that I need to do. This is the final version of my equation. Okay, let's try some more. Okay, so we see that we have point slope form in this case. So what I have is y minus 3 is equal to negative 5x plus 2. Well, in this case, I'm going to have to do some distributing first, and then I'm also going to have to do a little bit more moving if I'm trying to go from point slope form to standard form. So remember, we want to get to the form ax plus by is equal to c. So in this case, I have y minus 3 is equal to, let's go ahead and distribute. That's going to be negative 5x minus 5. And so I want my x on the left side, and I want this 3 on the right side. So let's go ahead and take care of that. I'm going to move 5x first. So plus 5x plus 5x. So that will be y plus 5x minus 3 is equal to negative 5. And the next step is to add 3. So positive 3. And so that's going to give me, those 3's will cancel. Y plus 5x is equal to, that'll be negative 2 now when I add that 3 to it. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to switch these two so that this will read 5x plus y is equal to negative 2. And it's okay for c to be negative. It's okay for the term on the right side to be negative. It's just not okay for the ax term to be negative. And sometimes you find different variations. Some textbooks will say a can be negative. Other textbooks will say absolutely not. A cannot be negative. So just as a safety precaution, let's always make a positive. And since it already is positive, we don't have to multiply by a negative. Okay? So remember that this would be your coefficient a. And in this case, we have y. That will be 1y. So the coefficient b would be 1. And the coefficient c would be negative 2. Okay? And in this case, our coefficient would be a1 would be 2. And the coefficient b would be negative 1. And the coefficient c would be 4. And the same thing down here. Okay, so let's look at another example in going from point slope to slope intercept form, and then we'll take a break, and then maybe you guys can take a break and then start the other video later. So in this case, I have y plus 2 is equal to 6 times x minus 2. So in this case, I need to distribute first before I can start moving anything. And so what I have is y plus 2 is equal to 6x minus 12. Okay, well, I know I want the 2 to come to the right side and the 6 to go to the left side. So to move this, the 6x to go to the left side. So to move the 6x, I have to subtract it. So minus 6x, and so minus 6x. Well, remember that even though I'm writing it vertically, I cannot add y and 6x because they're not like terms. So it's going to read y minus 6x, and if you want to skip a step and go ahead and arrange it, you can. Plus 2 is equal to negative 12. Well, I need to move the 2 to the other side, minus 2, so that's going to leave me with y minus 6x is equal to negative 14. And in this case, remember that I can't, the a should be positive, and when I make it positive, 6x plus y, when I rearrange those two, well, a is now not positive, or a was not positive, so that means that I have to multiply by a negative. So that means every sign in each term is going to become the opposite of what it was. So this will be a positive 6x to get my a positive, and this will be a minus y, and this will be a positive 14. Okay, so all that did was change every sign, but it gave me the result that I wanted, a positive 6x. So remember that this is your a coefficient, your b coefficient in this case is 1, and your c coefficient is is positive 14 in this case. Now, you probably will ask a question just because it's happened in all of our examples. Well, will b always be 1 or negative 1? And the answer is no, it won't. It won't always be 1 or negative 1. B will be different, and you'll see when we go from converting from standard form to other forms, then you'll see that B will be different. But for the cases when we're converting from slope intercept to standard, or point slope to standard, then most of the time B will be 1 or negative 1, but it won't always be that as a general rule in math. Okay, I hope this video has helped. Watch it as many times as you need to. Go back and make sure that you're working the problems with it. Take a pause, and then do some more practice after. So work on the practice homework. All right, hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in the next one.